members, it is time for our guest speaker. We have a phenomenal person here today, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Luca Kiner. Yeah! He is a teenager who is disrupting a lot of things out there, and we're going to be digging into that. But first, Luca, good afternoon. How's life?
Good. How are you?
I am out here in nature, recentering, getting away from all the COVID stuff. So hiding away. Thank you for joining us today on our little interview. We have Tobacco Free Month going on right now, and we are glad to have you here. I don't want to give too much of your story away, but I will start off by letting all of our listeners know about this, that you became addicted to Juul, you became addicted to e-cigarettes at a very young age. Could you tell us, how did that journey begin? How did you get involved with vaping? Why? And what's happening now?
So I first started using it when I was around 14. I was a freshman in high school, and it was introduced to me at my first Friday night football game. It was really introduced to me as very harmless, and it was also my ticket into getting to the front row seats at the football game in the student section. So for me, it was kind of a way to fit in. It was also just something that was introduced to me as harmless, even though it's not. And that's how I began.
All right, and I like what you just said. It was kind of your ticket into the front crowd there. Do you think there is more social acceptance around juuling versus the peer pressure of smoking and stuff, old school cigarettes?
I think so. Absolutely.
There's a vape
Yeah.
culture. Could you talk a little bit about that vape culture?
I don't know much about it now, especially now that I'm not in high school, but I know that I was in high school when I was doing it. It was definitely really all around. There was like people would post it on their social media, people would do it at school in class. So it was definitely something you would see everywhere.
And how do you feel that was appealing to teenagers in general, from freshmen up to seniors, the vaping?
It was easy to hide. You go into a classroom and you smell like cigarette smoke versus you go in and you do that and it's nearly odorless. It was a lot easier to hide and conceal.
And those things that are hidden can grow and fester like a mold on a cheese in a corner in a house that's flooded. And so how did this now begin to affect your home life, your school life, friend life?
Friend life, I think for a while I'm gaining friends that weren't really friends. I think that was kind of our really only value we had in each other was that. So those friends are not friends anymore. But I think in terms of home life and school life, I definitely became really distracted from school. That wasn't my focus anymore. And same with home, when I'm not doing well in school and getting in trouble at home. So it's definitely conflict at school and at home.
And you were a pretty good academic student before then, correct?
I was a straight A student before that.
So straight A's. So then vaping happened. And so you weren't just vaping, you were addicted. How did that come about?
I guess it's just how it goes. You know, you start using it and you get addicted. I would say I got pretty addicted pretty quickly. I definitely started using it more rapidly when I first started it. I think maybe after about close to a month of trying it, I got my own. And then when I got my own is when I really started using it.
And you were spending money on this.
Oh, absolutely. I was spending upwards of like close to about 150 a week.
And how were you getting that money? Was this just allowance money, cutting the lawn, robbing little elementary kids?
No elementary kids. Sometimes, like if I was at home, I would do something for my parents, and they'd like give me money to go out to eat. I wouldn't use that money to go out to eat, but they were giving me anywhere near 150 a week. So I would sell clothes, I'd sell shoes, personal belongings, really whatever I could to get my hands on it.
And so this started becoming your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, taking away from everything. And I like, well, not like, but what you had said was it was an addiction that was hiding in the dark. You had friends that were probably encouraging you to vape more. And so that just became your life. It was pulling you away from everything. And the one thing that most teenagers want is just to feel accepted. You found your tribe, you found your crew. And what toll did that start taking on your health physically and then mentally?
Mentally, I definitely felt really trapped a lot of the times. Definitely started to gain a lot of trust issues. I always just felt overwhelmed. Always tired. And then physically, I lost weight. I got really thin. I would get a lot less sleep. And then at one point, I even had a seizure.
Wow. And in this seizure, was 911 called?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It was a 6 minute long grand mal seizure.
Oh wow. And was that kind of the door opening? Was that when your family was like, wait, there's something going on here? Or did they kind of know prior to this?
So they knew prior to that. I actually opened up and told them uh, around when I first started using, and they were not okay with it. But it was kind of an odd ground. I don't think they knew how to approach it. So very quickly though, they figured like this is an issue. So they were trying to get me to stop for a while, like with therapies, and get me to do better behavior wise, school wise. But that event definitely was kind of a tipping point where they're like, this is to a point where he might need some more help.
Wow. So this got really serious. This is the part of the vape culture that a lot of people don't see. And so you said this got really serious. What was the next step in them trying to help you?
The next step after that was going to inpatient treatment program, so rehab.
And how long were you there?
I was there my sophomore year of high school, so it would be 2018, I believe. So in October of 2018 to December of 2018, I was there.
Wow. So that's the triple whammies, because you were rehab 2018, 2019 cool, then 2020 is like back to lockdown, 2021 back to lockdown,
Absolutely.
2022 we're all going to be living in the woods like this. So yeah, I'm going to start hosting survival skills. How to hit a squirrel with a shoe. Ah. And so when you went to rehab, you were there close to 40 days, correct?
1 day short of 40.
1 day short of 40. And so you're there. What would you say then to somebody who feels trapped like you did, someone who may be using, they feel trapped, they don't want to open up? What do you think they could do to help themselves get out of this snare they found themselves in?
Definitely finding a way to open up. My greatest weakness was not being willing to accept help or not asking for help. It's okay to go and talk to somebody. It's okay to confide in somebody, but make sure like the person you're confiding in is somebody that you can trust.
You want to go tell all your vape friends, hey guys, I'm showing them, like, hey, here, try this flavor. And that's key. One of the mental health things they always say is it's okay not to be okay. And so you got to ask for help, whether it's counseling, a friend. And I like what you said, finding somebody who's trustworthy. And so speaking out, using your voice, now you're kind of on a mission. Why are you speaking out against vaping, Juul in general?
I would just say I know that when I was younger and during that time, I wish I had a little bit more guidance. I wish I had somebody that would came and talk to me. Because just like those people you asked about, somebody that feels trapped or can't talk to somebody, that was definitely me. So having somebody share their experience definitely would have made me feel more welcome to go ask for help.
And I like that you're saying this, because you are just a year too older than most of the freshmen who are probably going to be watching this. You're at the same age as a lot of the seniors, those who are graduating. So I think coming from you, this should stick a little more than, an old man like me. You don't smoke cigarettes or use vape. That's the devil's device type of things here. And so we've gone from your introduction, high school acceptance, to the addiction, to becoming your life, to taking over your life, to now speaking out. What would you want to tell that one student out there right now who is thinking about Juul, thinking about vaping, using an e-cigarette? What would you want to tell them right now?
I would definitely, the first thing I would say is that, nobody can tell you what to do, and in no way are we, telling you what to do, because I know that's a frustrating thing. But I would definitely recommend like deeply thinking about what your reasoning is before doing it, and really thinking to yourself about your values, and is that something that lines up with your values? And hopefully it's not, but it's understandable and it's okay if it is. But I would definitely say try and reconsider before doing it. But also realize that whatever reason it is, your health is most important, and we got to treat ourselves right. And that's definitely not the way to take care of yourself.
I like that. I like them virtual fist bump right there. You're talking about pretty much about accepting and knowing yourself, being true to yourself. And I think people try to let brands such as Juul do that for them, tell them who they are. And you've got a good focus on who you are. I had one other question here. What was on my brain? Oh, yeah. So after everything was said and done, you went to rehab. How did your health improve? What changes did you see once you were able to beat that addiction?
I definitely felt more clear in a sense. I think I felt like lighter on my feet. I didn't feel like I had the pressure of the world on my shoulders as much. I definitely had, better home life, better relationships outside of home and at home and at school. So it was definitely something that was really relieving to me. I think that it definitely made my spirits a lot better.
I like that. That's what we want to finish on right here. It brightened your soul. Well, thank you all for joining us. That concludes our session with Luca Keinert. And thank you all for joining us on our tobacco-free month. Sport your raised gear. Don't forget to upload to social media, and we'll see y'all around.